Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss corporate governance or CG. Are you familiar with this term? Or maybe you have heard of it, but still don't understand what CG is and how it is applied in companies. When you hear corporate governance, what comes to mind? Is it just a governance system for large companies, strict rules for companies that have gone public, or even policies that are difficult to implement in business? The truth is, corporate governance is an important foundation in maintaining the sustainability and transparency of a business. But what if these principles are applied in a more inclusive and sustainable business model? To understand more, we will learn through a case study of Tasubinsa, an inspiring social enterprise. Can corporate governance be the key to modern business success? Let's take a deeper dive. Before discussing the Tasubinsa case study, we will first discuss what corporate governance is. According to the Cadbury Committee of the United Kingdom, 1922, corporate governance is a set of rules that define the relationship between shareholders, managers, creditors, the government, employees, and other internal and external stakeholders in respect to their rights and responsibilities, or the system by which companies are directed and controlled. On the other hand, the IDX, Indonesia Stock Exchange, defines corporate governance, or CG, as a system designed to direct the professional management of companies based on principles. These principles include transparency, accountability, responsibility, independence, and fairness, as well as ethical behavior and sustainability. The IDX also explains that the main purpose of implementing CG is to optimize company value for shareholders and other stakeholders in the long term. From these two definitions, we can conclude that corporate governance, CG, is a system or various rules that regulate the relationship between various parties in the company, such as shareholders, management, employees, creditors, government, and other stakeholders, with the aim of ensuring that the company is managed professionally with the principles of transparency, accountability, responsibility, independence, and fairness, so as to increase the value of the company in a sustainable manner for all parties involved. The implementation of corporate governance, CG, can be found in various companies, one of which is Tasubinsa. In his book, Corporate Governance and Ethics, An Aristotelian Perspective by Alejo Jose G. Sison. Before discussing the application of CG to Tasubinsa, let's discuss the background of Tasubinsa. Tasubinsa, Talleres Auxiliares de Subcontratación Industrial Navarra, Sociedad Anónima, is a specialized employment center founded on December 29, 1989 in Navarra, Spain. Tasubinsa is a local association that supports individuals with mental disabilities, with more than 90% of its workers being disabled. Tasubinsa has 13 business centers throughout Navarre and works in three main business lines: industrial subcontracting, services, and new technologies. Tasubinsa's main goal is to create and manage specialized employment centers and occupational centers for individuals with mental disabilities, provide services for their personal and social development, and create stable and quality employment. At Tasubinsa, Aristotle's ethics are used as the basis for CG practices. Aristotle's ethics focus on virtue, which emphasizes that moral behavior in business must be based on good character, wisdom, and balance in decision-making. The application of Aristotle's ethics at Tasubinsa, such as focusing on employee welfare, reflects the concept of eudaimonia in Aristotle's ethics, namely creating the best conditions for all parties. Fairness in its business decisions that take into account the interests of various stakeholders. And social responsibility, which is the principle of Aristotle's phronesis, practical wisdom. In terms of corporate governance, CG, Tasubinsa strategically integrates governance principles to enhance its operational and social impact. Tasubinsa operates in this sector because of its deep understanding of the needs of its user, people with disabilities, who face structural barriers in accessing employment opportunities. By providing adapted job environments and long-term career pathways, Tasubinsa ensures that individuals with disabilities are given the chance to participate fully in the workforce. The company recognizes that social inclusion in employment is not just an economic necessity, but also a moral obligation, reinforcing its commitment to ethical labor practices and human rights advocacy. Good and proper implementation of corporate governance, CG, has a positive impact on sustainability and financial stability. Tasubinsa is able to maintain operational efficiency and transparency in fund management, including for government subsidies. In addition, Tasubinsa's reputation is enhanced by its strong CG practices. The trust of the government, customers, and business partners has increased as they are recognized as professional and transparent in their operations. In terms of operations, CG ensures that Tasubinsa's management system remains effective. Tasubinsa implements various technologies and production methods that are friendly to workers with disabilities. Innovations in their production processes allow the company to remain competitive and create a more inclusive work environment. An inclusive and supportive work environment will certainly provide the main positive impact of implementing CG. With governance that focuses on employee well-being, Tasubinsa has managed to create a conducive work atmosphere where employees feel valued and supported in their career development. In the regulatory aspect, CG helps Tasubinsa to remain compliant with disability labor laws, which not only helps the company avoid the risk of sanctions, but also makes it easier for them to get subsidies and assistance from the government. Strong CG practices prove that the company can not only conduct its business in a socially responsible manner, but also operate in a professional and sustainable manner. This shows Tasubinsa can be a successful example of a company that combines business objectives with social responsibility in a balanced way. However, there are some downsides or challenges faced when practicing this type of corporate governance. One of the main challenges is the complexity of management and operations. As a company with a strong social focus, Tasubinsa has to balance business objectives and social interests. This can also lead to a slower decision-making process compared to conventional companies, as Tasubinsa has to consider various aspects, such as the welfare of disabled workers and government regulations. Not only that, Tasubinsa's dependence on government subsidies and support can be a weakness. Although the company has tried to reduce its reliance on external assistance, a large portion of its revenue still comes from the government. If there is a change in policy in reducing subsidies, this could have a major impact on the sustainability of the company, especially in financing social programs and operations. In terms of productivity, the physical and mental limitations of workers can be a challenge to achieve high production targets. Although the company has implemented a work system that supports efficiency, there are still limitations in work speed and flexibility compared to companies that employ a typical workforce. In addition, managing their human resources is also a challenge, as it will require special approaches such as training and coaching of workers with disabilities, which requires additional costs and specialized professionals. Not only Tasubinsa, there are many similar companies that implement corporate governance, CG, one of which is SG Enable. SG Enable is an organization that acts as an agent in the development of empowerment and inclusion of people with disabilities in Singapore. The organization was established in 2013 by the Ministry of Social and Family Development as part of the government's efforts to create a more inclusive ecosystem. SG Enable focuses on providing services and support to individuals with disabilities and their families. As part of its efforts to support the disabled community in Singapore, SG Enable runs various flagship programs. In its operations, SG Enable implements a risk management system to ensure that each program is effective and fit for purpose. They always conduct annual evaluations to assess the strategy and effectiveness of the program, as well as ensure that the resources used remain efficient. In addition, SG Enable applies due diligence on business partners, which aims to avoid reputational and financial risks, as well as to ensure that every collaboration provides real benefits for people with disabilities. SG Enable operates in this sector because of its deep understanding of the needs of its user people with disabilities and the structural challenges they face in employment, education, and daily life. Corporate governance plays a key role in defining SG Enable's strategic priorities, including developing partnerships with businesses, advocating for inclusive policies, and implementing sustainable social programs. Ethically, SG Enable is oriented towards a deontological approach, Kantian ethics, which emphasizes the moral obligation to ensure equality for people with disabilities. The implementation of corporate governance, CG, brings many benefits to SG Enable, especially in maintaining its financial sustainability, and helps increase trust from donors and business partners. Strategically, CG ensures that SG Enable's mission aligns with its operational execution, allowing the organization to make informed decisions based on transparency, accountability, and risk management. With CG, SG Enable can set long-term goals, adapt to changing policies and social expectations, and secure funding from various stakeholders, strengthening its credibility, ensuring that resources are effectively allocated to programs that generate real, measurable benefits for people with disabilities. However, while CG also brings many benefits to SG Enable, there are challenges that SG has to face, one of which is the reliance on external funding. As a non-profit organization, SG Enable does not earn revenue like a typical commercial enterprise, so they rely on grants and donations from various institutions. If these funding streams decrease or donor policies change, SG Enable may experience difficulties in maintaining the sustainability of its programs. In addition, the complex management structure in CG can also be a challenge. Implementing CG also brings consequences in terms of administrative and compliance costs, such as dependence on external funding, bureaucracy in decision-making, and increased administrative costs. Therefore, SG Enable needs to continuously adapt and seek innovative solutions in order to maintain a balance between good governance and effectiveness in carrying out its mission. Based on the understanding of the application of CG in Tasubinsa and SG Enable, we can see that both companies apply several theories, such as stakeholder theory, institutional theory, and resource-based view. The corporate governance (CG) model, applied by Tasubinsa, focuses on corporate governance with a primary social focus, while social governance (SG) focuses more on the balance between business profits and their social scope. The application of both in business depends on the suitability of the company's objectives, applicable regulations, and the readiness of the organization to apply the principles of sustainability and social responsibility. Some aspects of the Tasubinsa model that can be adapted by business enterprises include policies such as inclusive employment, operational transparency, and commitment to sustainability. Meanwhile, the application of SG in business is implemented through employee welfare programs, community engagement, and business strategies that consider social and environmental impacts. While Tasubinsa operates as a social enterprise with government support, its governance principles demonstrate that a socially based approach can enhance business competitiveness and create long-term value for stakeholders. With the growing trend of environmental, social, and governance (ESG), it can be argued that companies can apply elements of CG such as Tasubinsa and SG to strengthen business sustainability and improve corporate reputation in the eyes of consumers and investors. We have seen that corporate governance is not only about gaining as much profit as possible, but also about building trust and creating positive social impact. Through Tasubinsa and SG Enable, it is clear that good governance values can bring real transformation in the business world. Thank you for joining our discussion today. See you in the next video.